You help someone, they end up hating you for it. Standing ovation for the most predictable outcome in human psychology. Not sometimes, every single time you help someone significantly, and you keep missing the pattern because you think you're the exception. Adorable. Friend was broke. You gave money, found them a job. Now they do in return. Calls family member in crisis. You dropped everything to save them. Now they tell people you re-controlling coworker. Struggling you covered for them. Now they undermine you in meetings. Here's what happens in their mind. 48 hours of genuine gratitude, then something shifts. They start seeing you as a constant reminder of their failure. Every time they look at you, they remember they couldn't handle it alone. You become a walking representation of their inadequacy. The friend you gave money to can't look at you without being reminded they were broke. The family member you rescued can't see you without feeling shame. And that's where it gets worse. They can't admit this is why they resent you, because that makes them look ungrateful. So their brain rewrites history. Suddenly your help wasn't help. It was manipulation. You didn't save them out of kindness. You did it for control. Me being Zeus here from Olympus. I've watched this destroy relationships for thousands of years. Help creates debt. Debt creates resentment. Resentment becomes hatred. You thought kindness would create gratitude, but you are creating your own enemy. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the psychological mechanism behind this, why it happens to everyone, and what to do instead. Every act of help establishes hierarchy, whether you intend it or not. When you solve their problem, you re-proving you re-above them in competence. When you give them money, you're above them in resources. Adorable how naive you are about this. Humans are obsessed with tracking where they stand relative to everyone. Every interaction gets processed. Am I above or below this person? Being below anyone is intolerable to the ego. When you help them, what you hear is thank you. What they process unconsciously is I am now below this person. I needed them. They didn't need me. This feeling doesn't go away. It compounds. Standing ovation for creating permanent resentment. The friend you helped looks at you, and their brain calculates. They gave me money equals. They have more equals, they re-above me. Doesn't matter that you don't think this way. What matters is the hierarchy their brain created. You probably helped them because you see them as equal, but the act of helping proves inequality. You had what they needed, and they didn't. The help itself is evidence of hierarchy. Fascinating watching the paradox destroy relationships. Every time they see you becomes a reminder of their inadequacy, not of your kindness, but of their dependence. You become a trigger for their shame, and humans will do anything to eliminate shame, including eliminating the person. Reciprocity is hardwired into humans. When someone helps you, you feel obligated to return the favor. Adorable how this becomes a trap. If you helped them out of major crisis, gave them a job, saved them from disaster, how do they repay that? They can't. The debt is too large. This creates moral debt. Debt that can't be repaid in practical terms, only in eternal gratitude. Eternal gratitude means eternal inferiority, forever being the person who needed help, standing ovation for creating dynamics that guarantee resentment. Real example. Guy gets his brother-in-law a job, saves him from unemployment. 6 months later, brother-in-law is bitter, complaining, avoiding family. What happened? The debt became unbearable. Every day at that job is a reminder he needed help. The resentment builds slowly, starts as discomfort, becomes irritation, transforms into hatred, and they can't admit the real reason because that makes them ungrateful. So they find other reasons. You're controlling. You think you're better. Anything but the truth. This is why wealthy family members have the worst relationships. They help too much, create unpayable debts, wonder why everyone resents them. You can't buy good relationships. You can only create resentment dressed as gratitude. Comment the type of help that destroyed a relationship. Just the category. Money, job, housing. I already know most have experienced this. The ones who won't comment think they're different. Cute. You don't even have to act superior. They'll assume it anyway. The act of helping creates perceived superiority, regardless of intentions. Watching this never gets old. You helped because you cared, didn't think about status, but they think about it constantly. Every human is obsessed with position relative to others. Your help moved you above them in their ranking system. When you're above someone in capability, they start watching for confirmation you think you're better. Confirmation bias kicks in. They interpret everything through this lens. Standing ovation for making yourself the target. You make a suggestion, they hear condescension. You offer more help. They hear pity, you ask how they're doing. They hear checking on your charity case. You literally cannot win. Real example. Woman helps sister leave abusive relationship. Provides housing, support, resources. 3 months later, sister accuses her of being controlling, of thinking she's better. What happened? Nothing. Woman didn't change, but sister's perception changed. The debt became unbearable, reminder of weakness intolerable. Only way to escape feeling inferior was reframe helper as villain. Fascinating watching humans rewrite history to protect ego. Once resentment builds, they need a story that makes them good, and you bad. They can't be the ungrateful one. So watch what happens. This part never stops being entertaining. The story shifts. Suddenly your help wasn't help. It was control. You didn't save them, you trapped them. The entire history gets rewritten. Standing ovation for reality becoming optional. They tell friends and family this new version. You were manipulative. You held everything over their head. None of this is true, but it becomes their truth. And people believe it because it explains the resentment better than the truth. The truth is uncomfortable. I resented someone who helped me because I felt inferior. The lie is comfortable. They were manipulating me, and I saw through it. Fascinating watching humans choose narratives based on comfort, not accuracy. Person A helps person B significantly. Person B avoids person A. When asked why person B has entire narrative about how person A is toxic, never mentions the help or reframes it as manipulation. Person A is confused because none of this matches their experience. Adorable watching people become villains in stories constructed to protect someone else's ego. If you're still watching, you discovered why kindness made you the villain. Subscribe for uncomfortable truth. Most will close this and go back to helping thinking they're different. You're still here, which means you might learn. Here's how you help without creating resentment. Adorable how simple this is. Never help anyone more than they can repay. If they can't balance the scales, don't help. Sounds harsh, but it's the only way to maintain the relationship. When someone asks for help, ask yourself, can they return this favor in practical terms within reasonable time frame? If yes, help. If no, don't. Keep the debt payable. Keep the relationship equal. This doesn't mean be selfish. It means be strategic. Helping someone into unpayable debt doesn't help them. It burdens them with shame they can't escape. You're doing them a favor by refusing. Exception. If you're willing to help with zero expectation of relationship continuing, go ahead. Help knowing you'll probably lose them. Sometimes worth it. You save their life. They hate you, but they're alive. For ongoing relationships, keep exchanges balanced. They help you move. You help them move. Maintain reciprocity always. This is how humans stay comfortable. Any imbalance creates problems. Standing ovation for learning this the expensive way. Real kindness requires seeing them as equal, even in their weakness. If helping makes you feel superior, even for a second, don't help. You're doing it for yourself. They'll sense that and hate you for it. Here's the uncomfortable part. Adorable how resistant you'll be. Sometimes people need to fail. Sometimes the lesson is that choices have consequences. By rescuing them, you're robbing them of growth. When you save someone from disaster they created through their choices, you're teaching them they don't have to change because you'll always rescue them. This makes them weaker, and part of them hates you for enabling their weakness. The hard truth, sometimes the kindest thing is letting someone experience full consequences of their choices. This is how humans learn, through pain, through failure. By rescuing them, you're often making their life worse long-term while feeling good short-term. Help is received well when receiver can repay soon, when both maintain frame of equals who support each other, when help increases independence, not dependence, teaching to fish versus giving fish forever. Also matters. Help that's requested is received differently than help imposed. When someone asks, they're accepting hierarchy temporarily. When you impose help, you're forcing them into inferior position. They'll resent the imposition. Fascinating how method matters as much as help itself. You came hoping I'd say people who resent help are just ungrateful as shoals. I won't. Because the help-resentment pattern is built into human psychology. It's not a bug. It's a feature of how status and hierarchy work. I shall keep watching, because this plays out millions of times daily. Well-meaning person helps beyond what can be repaid, creates unpayable debt, gets confused when gratitude becomes resentment, never understands help itself was the problem. Adorable how predictable this is. You'll probably ignore this. Go back to helping beyond what they can repay. Wonder why relationships deteriorate. Convince yourself they're ungrateful. Miss the pattern. Blame them instead of understanding psychology. Standing ovation for learning nothing. Or you could adjust. Help strategically, not emotionally. Maintain balance. Keep relationships equal. Stop rescuing people from consequences they need. Stop collecting resentment while thinking you're collecting gratitude. Few will do this because it requires admitting help was partly about feeling superior. The ones who get this will keep exchanges balanced, maintain equality, while assisting that people fail when they need to. Fail those few will have better relationships, fewer enemies. Created through kindness, less confusion about why people turn on them. Watching someone actually learn this never gets old. Watching them stop rescuing, stop creating dependence, stop collecting resentment disguised as gratitude, start building relationships between equals instead of saviors and victims, gives me something close to respect for your species. Comment what you wish someone had let you fail at instead of rescuing you. Just the situation. Next time I reveal why success makes you miserable and how getting what you wanted creates the problems you are trying to escape. See you then if you're brave enough to keep questioning yourself.